Sugar Club!
What a crowd.
Hello, Sugar Club! Ah, Jesus. Shh. Thank you. Hello and good evening. You're all very welcome back. It is the second part of our show. The third part of our show is where Johnny's going to try and break his duck. 6 successive weeks of dud tips on Friday night racing. I wouldn't mind, but it's for the injured jockeys. The poor injured jockeys can't catch a break. You break a leg, you break an ankle, and then Johnny tips the loser.
There was a guy at the Dogs, like a very, very strong gambler, and the word was like he was having a seriously bad run, and he's like he's lost 25 bets in a row, and he goes up the bookie, and the bookie's like, are you for real? You're going to punt me? And he goes, if you're down 25 bets in a row, what's 26? And that's basically where we're at right now.
That is exactly where we're at. So we'll get our tip for you in the third part of the show, which is going to be going through the card at the Dublin Racing Festival. And a reminder, we are tonight here with thanks to the Dublin Racing Festival taking place at Leopardstown Racecourse on Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of February. 15 races, 8 Grade 1s, 1.8 million in prize money. You can get your tickets now at leopardstown.com. Two potential stars of the Dublin Racing Festival. Our next two guests are having amazing seasons, both of them. Please give it up for Patrick Mullins and Rachael Blackmore. Patrick, good evening. Welcome. Rachael, thanks for coming. How are you?
Good.
So, we've been talking about the commitment that racing folk have. You guys were up like 5-6 o'clock this morning, racing in Goran, and you're here tonight in Dublin with us. So that's like a nice, quiet afternoon for you guys.
5 or 6 o'clock is probably an exaggeration there.
Willie has it. We only start riding out till 8, and Willie. It's because Willie reckons that the horse is like the lion.
Right.
So that's the secret.
Wow, that's pretty sweet.
Secret, yeah.
I have to apologise on air to you, Patrick, because tonight's a big night around Goran. It's your local track, and when you win the Tyassies, which most years you do, it tends to be a big party.
Yeah, it's sort of invitation only. Winning, it's our big local track, and usually there's a great party on in Clears and Goran. But I've nearly flight out tomorrow morning. I flight at 6:30, so I said it might be safer to come up here and go home and probably get more sleep.
Now, I don't know if everybody knows this, but you two are flatmates.
Yeah, we are housemates, yeah. My boyfriend Brian Hayes owns the house, and Paddy
Very, very, very quick to put that in there.
Yeah, and
Patrick was kind of leaving the line like
and somehow
I know exactly what he's going to say here.
I pay rent and she doesn't. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
they're gonna breed a horse together, and it's going to be called Platonic. You know. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't expect that. I was going to say...
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say...
Early.
We had a Skype call with you on Friday Night Racing a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to say it's a nice kitchen, but I didn't know like when we've got the tour or not. When we have Kevin Kilbane on, we'd make him do a little tour of the house, but I don't know. Next time we're going to get you to...
Well, they're brilliant to live with. Brian and Rachel, like, they get a cleaner in every 2 weeks, and they clean the house before the cleaner comes. I mean, they're complete neat freaks. So
It's not Brian, by the way. It's my boyfriend, Brian Hayes.
I can't believe I said that. Oh, God.
Brian is actually going to be watching this. He's like...
I just have to be so clear because people always say that Paddy we live together, and yeah, it's got to be clear.
That's fair enough.
It's when they go on holiday together that they get into real stuck. It's like, no, we're just jockeys.
I haven't been invited on holidays yet.
We're all about clarity in this show. I do want to talk to you, Rachel, about your current race to become champion jockey. Barbara said you're probably getting a bit bored of answering questions about this. It's like, what's the story? But I mean, come on, it must be pretty amazing to be getting asked. Like, you're in the running to be champion jockey. It's ridiculous. It's brilliant.
Yeah, like I'm still there in the shake-up, but I mean it's an unlikely event, to be honest. But it's just fantastic to be even for people to even utter that sentence at this stage, at any stage during the season. So,
what point did you think it might be realistic to aim for that as something that you could have as a goal at the end of the season? Like, because
I haven't reached that point yet, to be honest. Yeah.
Fair enough. Like last year, we were looking back at the stats. About 119 was the winning total. So there's loads of racing to be done. But like, do you allow yourself to daydream a little bit about it? Like when you're being driven around the country.
To be honest, it's not even something I've ever dreamt of. It's not even something I could ever. I never dreamt of being champion jockey. I still can't see that happening. I don't know whether that's a negative thing for a sports person not to be able to, see. But look, I'm just delighted to be in the position I'm in, and racing is very much a day-to-day thing. You just, you want to go day to day. You want to ride as many winners as you can on that day, and you're not looking too far ahead.
Yeah, okay. The competition at the moment is with Paul Townend, which is a rivalry that dates back, is it a decade and a half at this point? We have this little clip, which is a home movie, which you're all going to see in Jump Girls, the documentary next week.
I was always surrounded by horses, did pony club and eventing, and kind of went down all those usual routes. My pony was quite fast, so we decided to run him in a pony race, so that was my first kind of taste into racing.
Takes them along, Tommy coming on the outside, but it's great dancing off and Tommy coming all the time on the outside.
He actually ended up riding a winner on him, beating Paul Townend in nose.
Great dancing on the near side, Tommy on the far side, they're neck to neck. It's a desperately close thing.
That's one of my major highlights of my career, I think. Yeah, first winner beating a champion jockey of the future, so it was a great day.
Rachel, can we have just a quick word about you? Rachael Blackmore, you hail from where? Killen also?
Oh, yeah.
Talk us through that race there now.
Oh, it was brilliant. He so much left of him at the end. He went really well, and I couldn't believe it.
Is this your first winner?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Beating Paul Townend, that's class. It's brilliant to have that, isn't it?
Yeah, that was such a great day. I remember I went down racing with the Doyles. Jack Doyle would have been doing a lot of pony racing back then, and kind of family would have been friendly with Mary Doyle, and that's how we kind of went and did it, and it was unbelievable. Yeah.
That's quite a high, I presume, winning a race like that at that age. You're like, yeah, I want to be a jockey. That's it. I want to be a jockey, nothing else.
Yeah, I was kind of hooked on it after that, and it was funny. Like, there was a lot of when you kind of go down to the pony racing down there, they didn't really know who we were we after coming from the north with this really fast pony, or what was kind of going on. But as soon as we won the race, like, I think I got off and as we walked back in, didn't go to the winning post. The organisers knew fairly quick that we were that we were definitely amateurs, and just we weren't coming in to take any of their
You were the
winnings.
ringer.
Yeah.
That's class. When did you get addicted to racing and riding and decide,
Still thinking about Brian Hayes.
It's taking a funny turn.
like you didn't have much choice, I guess. But
look, the whole family is into it. But I know I only did one pony race, and myself and Emma went down to a local pony race down in Thomastown, and I brought my Palomino mare down. Emma brought his half thoroughbred Duncan and Hustle. So the O'Farrells were there, and we thought this was great crack anyway. So we down to start, jumped off, rode a finish, straight to finish. Emmett won, and I finished second. Delighted. Started pulling up. Next thing, the crowd started shouting us, "There's another lap! There's another lap!" So of course we go on, and Emmett still won. I finished fourth, so he still reminds me to this day. But I wasn't quite didn't have a good record like Rachel. So, but no, all our life. It's not that it got forced into us, but it's all we did.
yeah, but the bit that you enjoy the most has to be riding winners. And like, when do you realise that that's the aspect of this that is going to be the one that you follow the most?
Winning, sure, like any competitor, winning is the kick, and as big a thing is when you get beat. Like, the day that getting beat doesn't hurt, it probably doesn't matter, and that's as big a spur on as winning. Just not getting beat, like not getting Nina Carver or Jamie Codd coming and nailing you on the line. There's just nothing worse.
How would you compare, like, winning to riding Duvan at Cheltenham in March, last March, when you're riding in the Champion Chase?
Well, so that's
up to the point of obviously the fall, but like just the thrill you got out of riding him.
Yeah, well, like, I'd been lucky enough to ride him before in Leopardstown, and he'd won when Paul got injured in the first race. And same thing again. I'd actually prepared myself for going to Cheltenham. I prepared myself for riding him. I just said, this could happen. I've seen people get injured before.
No way.
And I'm sure you have to think ahead, like,
yeah.
And I remember we were one year in Cheltenham. There was 3 or 4 jockey changes of Dave Casey and Briar Hill that year. I nearly got to ride on his own. But anyway, I had it in my head. So but
You
obviously
got to ride on the Gold Cup.
well, Ruby got injured in the triumph of Abbey Seal, and then David got a fall on Briar Hill, and suddenly I was going to ride on his own, and I didn't, but I just had that in the back of my head, and I said, I'm going to be prepared for this. So I had a plan in my head. I only got the colours just literally the race before. Got a quick chat with Ruby, who's lying there with a broken leg, and trying to
How are you anyway?
wake up. So the last thing I heard as I was walking out, the Channel 4 on in the TV, which they did catch me streaking across it one day on live feed, which wasn't ideal, but it's a chilly place in there. And but the last thing I heard as I was walking out, in the zone, was Matt Chapman going, and Duvan drifting like a barge.
Filled you with confidence. I'll show them.
Fair enough, Matt. Yeah. So, but look, it was amazing. Went down the start. I was going down the start thinking it doesn't get any better than this. And like the first time I rode him, I just said, "This is the best horse in the race. All I have to do is school him around. Like, it's not even a race." At the time when the horse fell, I thought, yes, I was going to win. Sure, it's a mile from home, and looking back on it,
the finishing kick that he has as well.
Altior, is obviously, he finishes very strong. Altior could be as good a horse you ever saw. But at the time, it's like, I've ridden some very good horses. I've looked at Ride Faheen, I've looked at Ride Annie Power, Undersow, Sharjah, Wicklow Brave. But when your man's in full flight, he's a different species, and it's so frustrating that he hasn't been able to prove that it's, he's won the novice races. They don't really count, it's like winning the minor. He hasn't been able to win his All-Ireland, and we know the ability he has. And look, he made a mistake, he fell, he hadn't ran in a year. It was like throwing a fella into a World Cup final. There's always you're going to make a mistake somewhere, and he did, but thank God he got up. And that was my main thing when I fell, because he landed on his head. He didn't get a foot out or anything, he landed on his head, and I thought, he's in trouble. But when I got up and saw him, that was fine.
The amount of emotions you must go through from the thrill, split second later you're on the ground and one of your favourite horses could be badly injured or even worse, and you're like, and you were trying to get over the fall at 40 miles an hour, and you're like,
yeah,
what happened there?
Yeah, well, first of all, the ambulance and the vet both missed me, so I ended up having to walk him home, because in England you can't get your butt back up in them, so I was a bit tick over that, walking back on my horse. But no, I remember thinking, and you get experience of this when you suffer defeats and you suffer, things going arseways. You have to just keep the focus. And I knew I had a ride later on the day, I had 2 rides the next 2 days, and so I just put it aside, and it didn't bother me. But when I came home and watched the replay, then it sunk in. But I think it's like, I suppose, you're getting a foul, a match or something. You have to put it aside in the middle. It was Wednesday at Cheltenham, which is a 4-day festival, so you can't be thinking about it the next day or the day after. So, yeah. Does that answer the question? Was there a question?
What was the question?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Rachel, will you talk to us a little bit about what has been a breakout season for you? What's the difference this year from last year, and what level of confidence you must have at the moment?
So the biggest difference is just my link up, I suppose, with Henry de Bromhead at the start of the summer. It's all about getting into the right yard at the right time, and that just happened for me this summer. His horses were flying, and you need to be on the right horses to be finishing in front.
How does that come about? So that obviously is in the works for a little while. There's conversations going on, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like
I think Eddie O'Leary mentioned to Henry that would he try using me maybe for some of their runners down there, and Henry went for it, and I was very grateful for that. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the bit a little bit earlier on where your name came up when they were talking about the decision to go pro 3 years ago. What was behind that decision? Because obviously you believed in yourself at that stage that something like this might happen for you in the future, but there must be a bit of confidence and a strain of madness at the same time to go, yeah, actually, you know what, I am going to give this a go.
The main thing for me was I had nothing to lose. I had an amateur career that was not really a career, and the yard I was in was there to back me, and you need support in this game, and for me my weight is very good, so a lot easier for me as a 7-pound claimer back then to get a ride in a handicap of 9-10 than expect someone to put me up in a 4-year-old maiden point of pointing. So it was just something that worked out for me. And
was it obvious to you at the time that this was the right thing to do, or was there a little bit of soul searching?
Absolutely not. Like, plenty of people told me it mightn't be the right thing to do, but like I had a Shark Hanlon telling me, look, I'll support you, I'll give you rides, so I had nothing to lose.
And I think what a lot of people maybe don't realise, a bit like an overnight success. Like, I mean, I've known Rachel since she was kind of 19, 20, and it took her 6 years to get to the point where she started getting good. Just that time.
As you can see from my flapping video, I was not natural. But like, it's so true. Like, when you look at Paul beside me, like he looks like, if you put him into a bumper the very next day after that race, like, he wouldn't have looked out of place. Whereas I was absolutely horrendous, like, in every shape and form. You know what I mean? And it took me such a long time to get my act together, and it's only now starting to click into place, you know.
Did you model yourself on anyone, or was it did you just improve the experience?
Just trying to model myself on not looking like I did back then, I suppose. Yeah.
How are you getting on?
But the thing is, for anyone who's trying to be a jockey, you see some of the lads after a year or 2 years, they just lose interest. But it might take 4 or 5 years. And it's probably the same with other sports. It might take 4 years for you to get the chance.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just lucky. I got that chance, and
I don't think you were lucky. I think it was hard work. I think that
but
there's a bit of luck maybe at certain races, but
yeah, but I
70
this
winners
summer I've
isn't
been
luck.
seriously lucky with getting into a yard where the horses are flying. You know, it could have easily been his horses weren't.
But you had to be ready for that opportunity when it came along, and that's the thing. I think, like, from that moment forward, is that what you wanted to be? Did you want to be
No, never. Didn't want to be a jockey. Definitely knew I wanted to be an amateur jockey and ride in races and so on. Wanted to be a vet. Terrible leaving cert. Horrendous in school. That was never going to be an option. But I always wanted to be a jockey, but I never envisaged myself being able to make a career out of being a jockey. You know, it wasn't until
how did that change? Yeah.
It actually wasn't until I was 26 and Shark Hanlon said to me, you know, why don't you turn professional, and I'll try it, and it worked. And you know,
if Shark hadn't said that to you, where would you be now?
I think your boyfriend Brian had a big say in that as well, didn't he?
He had a.
Are you going out with a guy called Brian?
He had a massive say in it, but I didn't want to bring him up again. So.
We have Brian on the line.
So.
But if Shark hadn't said that, would you? Because your amateur career was plodding along, really going nowhere.
Yeah, like Brian had said to me too. You know, you're
that's not a joke.
you're a 7 pound claimer who, you know, you can claim off those light weights. You know, why don't you give this a try? And you know, it was just that a girl had never gone down that road before for their own circumstances. You know, Nina and Katie never needed to. You know, Cheltenham winners, Irish National winners, they were, you know, beating Paddy left, right and centre in bumpers. So that they never needed to do that.
But you were pioneer in the sense of there were very, very few female professional riders, flat or jumps. And there still are.
Yeah. I don't know.
It shouldn't be. Like, how many winners did you ride as an amateur?
7 on the track, 11 points.
And how many winners have you ridden as a pro? Couldn't count it.
More than that. Yeah.
70-something this year, is that right?
72 on over jumps this year, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. Come on.
Here, take a bow.
Huh?
Here, take a bow.
And she's ridden. I remember being at Tipperary for one of the meetings during the summer, and she rode a gambled on winner for this man's father on the flat, and then she won the big hurdle race the same day. And I was just like, this is absolutely extraordinary, and stuff like that should be on the news that night, that somebody can do that. Not to mind that she's a pioneer in terms of female jockeys, that she's mixing flat and jumps and riding 5 furlong race in Dundalk, and then riding a 3 mile chase the following day.
That's incredible for a jockey, full stop.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think like racing is one of those rare sports where gender is becoming completely irrelevant. Like.
Well, it's the only sport where men and women race on equal footing. It's like
the one thing I will take her up on was that when the French brought in the rule about a female allowance, I remember saying it to you, and you're like, I would take anything going that would help me. And I was just like, I don't want this to come in at all, because I think it's almost saying like you're inferior, and I don't think you are.
Sure, you're saying like I spent most of my life chasing Nina and Katie around the bumpers, and so why would you give them an extra £4, like, you know?
Kind of what I think what I meant was if they
deal,
want to give it to me, like, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to be like, I don't want your £4. You know what I mean? I'm going to take it, like.
That's definitely how it works. You got to take whatever's going. In terms of the Dublin Racing Festival, we're going to talk to you guys both a little bit later on about this. But anything in particular, Rachel, that you're looking forward to?
it's very early for me to say what I'll be riding. I'm not sure. But it's a fantastic 2 days. Really looking forward to it. High class racing. So I hope I'm there first of all for most of it. And it's hard to pin down anything.
Okay. How far out do you kind of know what you are going to be riding on? Earlier on, we were asking Davey what his involvement is. He's like, drive there, get on the horse, get off the horse, go home. How much conversation do you have with trainers about what's coming up?
You get a feed off trainers, but you're not marching in and asking them, what am I riding at the weekend? You know what I mean? Like I have a really good agent. Yeah, a really good agent in Gary Cribben, and he does a lot of that work and that side of it for me. So technically you don't know 100% what you're riding until after 12 o'clock on a Friday when the declarations are done for the weekend.
Yeah, so you just got to stay in the moment and make sure you're ready no matter what happens.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
How important is your agent?
Oh, massive. Yeah, really important. It's 10:30 there, declarations are out for the following day, or entries are out at 12 and you're riding out somewhere. You can't be on your phone trying to get yourself rising, get yourself sorted, and he's a really good man to have on your side.
How long are you with him?
With him since I turned, yeah.
So he's seen the whole almost rags to riches story, like.
He's been a massive role in it anyway, yeah.
All right, let's go down to the crowd. Emma Doyle is in the crowd, who won her debut race at Dundalk on the 4th of January. That's probably worth a round of applause too.
Go on, Emma. Woo!
How are you getting on, Emma? How are you doing?
I'm really good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that race. So, when do you know that? Because it's a family horse, is that right? So you've kind of been targeting it for a while, I guess.
Yeah, I hadn't been particularly now because I actually only got my license the day before I rode. I was actually third choice jockey that day. Dad just couldn't get anyone else to do the lightweight. So I think it was like 11 o'clock, and he went to look and my name wasn't on the registered list of jockeys to ride. But he made a quick call to the turf club, and I made it down for 12 anyway.
Oh, so the race was at 12?
No. Just you have to have
the
like
day before
down as
to
a
get
jockey.
your license.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And so at that point then that you're going to be riding, and what's that build up to that race like? Because this is your first race as a registered jockey.
Yeah, I guess it was actually a good way that it worked out that I only knew that close beforehand. I didn't have too long to worry about it and stress myself out really. I also had like a few pounds to lose to get down to A3, but that kind of took my mind off it.
All right, so then the Dundalk, and how long is the race?
It was a mile.
Okay, right. So how does the actual race go? A mile at Dundalk. I'm only learning about this because Johnny keeps telling me, this horse is definitely going to win, and then he doesn't. But I understand a mile in Dundalk, it doesn't actually matter that much where you're drawn because you have enough time to make up for any difficulties.
It actually does matter.
Now he tells me.
Yeah, a mile is not as relevant as because I was actually involved in a horse that ran in that race, and
is this our race?
Possibly. It was the third horse I've been involved in that was well fancied in a race that Northern Surprise actually won, and they were all at Dundalk, and our horse was drawn high that night, and it didn't exactly help him, but Emma was absolutely superb on the winner, and it just looked like she'd been there for some time, and it was a great...
She looked much better than Rachael in her first winner.
Yeah, she did. I would say Emma was more precocious maybe than Rachael.
Yeah.
I
think our after-race interviews were very similar, though.
Yeah.
That's how I felt afterwards.
Well, it must be ridiculous. It's like, because it's not just you riding a random horse, it's a family horse as well, so that's like... it's amazing.
Yeah, like I've known him his whole life. We've had him since he was a 2-year-old. He's 8 now. I know him inside out. I've led him up every day he's ran, so that made it extra special, I think.
And they're just such a nice family. Like, it was like you could not begrudge. Like her dad is like just one of these guys you meet in racing, always has a smile on his face, and racing you take the good with the bad. And they were just like they're just a lovely family to be associated with. How
far out do you know you're going to win? Like, is it close or is it a?
I knew when Rory Cleary said well done when I passed the line.
Nice.
I had turning in, I was like, God, I still have a lot here, like he's still under me. But the whole way up the straight, I was just like, we're still going. I didn't know if I was going to get there because I saw the two were going to go by clear me, but I was just very lucky.
He also, like, he wasn't like all that well fancied, so you probably had a sense of like, I can ride him just to finish his race, and if he wins, it's a bonus. But it was just like
Oh,
he hadn't won
exactly.
in some time.
Yeah, he hadn't won in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, I knew going out that he was well capable. He hadn't lost any form at home. He's just after falling out of love with the game a bit. But
If you ride a horse that was 16, 20 to 1, that is an 8 year, he's like, if you can get 5 good years out of a horse, that's good. So he's 6, 7 years on the go. It's your first ever ride. He's 16, 20 to 1, and it wins. Like, that is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
class.
said, like.
It's absolutely class. So, like, what happens for you now? Your ambition level can be whatever it wants to be in racing, right?
yeah, I guess I'm just taking it one ride at a time. I've had 2 rides since, and one went well, one not so well. So we just got to see how it goes. Hopefully, I'll just keep improving. I know I have to get a lot stronger and all that, but I hope I can just stay at it for as long as I'm enjoying it.
Does the likes of Rachel kind of prove like something of an ambassador for the likes of you?
Oh, 100%. If it wasn't for Rachel, I don't think a lot of girls would be getting into racing now. I was actually so fortunate she was there on the night I was riding. She was great to me. She put my cap on my helmet and everything.
I did. I was like her valet. I had to tuck her in properly because anytime anyone has their first ride, what happens is your colours come out, and like nobody tells you on your first ride, make sure you pull your colours down so they won't come out. So I did that for her.
Yeah, I was well prepped.
That's class. Emma, congratulations. That's a great story. When you said one went well, did you win a second race?
No, I was third.
All right, so you've got a 33% winning record. That's not bad. If you can maintain that for the rest of your life, we're going to hear a lot more about you. Emma, congratulations and well
Thank
done.
you.
I know, Rachel, you were kind of like, we're talking about gender, and it's like very boring that it always comes up. But when you hear a story like that, you actually realise that you're making a difference, even if you don't want to be making a difference, or like it's important.
Yeah, look, when I started, Nina and Katie were the prevalent ones in the weigh room. I walked into a weigh room where there was no issue made about gender, so that's just what I followed on to.
Yeah.
And look, it was a fantastic night for Emma in Dundalk. She'll actually take her a while. It'll be next year when she looks back on it. When she gets a real taste of how disappointing racing can be. But it was a fantastic night, and like she rode so well and was so professional about herself for having her first ride.
Yeah,
it's great in racing that it's not even really talked about that much anymore. It's like if 1 in 7 winners at Cheltenham last season was ridden by a female rider, one of whom actually basically broke her collarbone and rode a finish and won the race. And it's just like, well, that's just how it is anymore. And I think it's 50-50 basically in terms of staff. And down the line, because weights are going to stop a lot of male riders riding because they're not going to be able to do the weight. I think the percentage of female riders is going to go way, way up in the next few years.
Yeah.
And it's, Jessica Harrington, what was she, like 70, 71 when she had her first Gold Cup runner, which won. She had her first winner in the Irish National that year. And this 70, 71-year-old, whatever she was, I remember her at Cheltenham because she had her arm in a cast because she'd had a fall skiing. And I'm just like, I don't really care what your gender is, you're amazing. Like,
yeah,
it's just
she's
like,
going to be
that's-
training winners at
that's
100s.
just- Yeah, that's just race.
I think the gender thing is gone. I think too much is made of it. Like Rachel's doing what she's doing. Bryony Frost is riding Grade 1 winners. Lizzie Kelly's riding Cheltenham winners. Nina and Katie being done everything. You have Josephine Gordon on the flat. Natalie Desute in France. I don't think it's a thing anymore.
And I hope you're dead right, and I hope that it continues. I want to show you some pictures, Patrick.
Christ.
Yeah, what the hell's going on here? That's you in
He
football.
just does this for attention.
Is that it?
Just for attention.
So these are hurdles, right?
They
Correct?
are, yeah.
And you're jumping.
Yeah.
You're jumping
8
hurdles.
furlongs in a mile.
There you go. And it's not just once. They're different socks.
What shorts you wear?
I haven't. It's Man United ones, but I had Barcelona ones before. I went over to a Clasico match, which was brilliant.
Did you get the photographer to just say, like, just be 5 yards away from the hurdle, and just as my muscles are shown properly as I jump it, just then take the photo?
Yeah, I run the track before the race every day, just to see the ground, because I'm in the bumper, so obviously there's been a few races on it, so you can see where the ground's cut up, where it's not cut up, so you can get a fresh strip, which is sometimes why you see me going quite wide. And then I also like to you lose a half pound or a pound, and it just keeps me fit. I used to run a lot as a kid, did community games and all that.
What's with the schooling? Just kind of see how you're jumping.
It's just a bit of interest, yeah. Although it's a sign I think I have to give it up now because my left knee is giving me trouble. It's a sign of getting old, I think.
Yeah. And you're 29, I think.
29, yeah. 29,
wait till you're 30. I think we vaguely remember her.
Johnny. So, how much longer will you do this? Are you also like you do it as long as you possibly can?
Well, look, my father rode. He was 40. I mean, it's incredible. When he was 40, he rode the bumper winner in Cheltenham. So it's like Gordon Elliott, who's 40 now, riding the bumper winner in Cheltenham.
What was the name of the horse?
Well, maybe not exactly like Gordon Elliott now winning the Cheltenham. But like
when I said Gordon Elliott, I meant
but the horse is called Wither Witch, and he's still at home in the field. He's 20. He was 5'96", so he's 22 now, 27. Anyway, I did pass maths, and it's actually a great story. So he bought the horse. He'd had one winner in Cheltenham Tourist Traction in '95. He bought this horse at the sales for small money. He won a bumper at Leopardstown at Christmas. He won 20 lengths, and up until then, Willie had always sold horses. He'd always sold horses to England. That was what he did back then. So he decided this was the horse he was going to be a trainer and not a trader. And he kept, I think he might have kept a leg of the horse, sold the rest of the horse for less money than he could have if he sold him to England. Kept the ride on the horse then in Cheltenham instead of letting Richard the Muddy ride him. The plan was to make the running, and he missed the start, which was a good start. And but the horse still won. And off the back of that, he got Archie Leary to buy Florida Pearl, and
right.
So without Wither Witch, the whole story would be a lot different.
It's mad the aging process. I think Ruby is 39 maybe. Yeah. So Ruby has been, whether he's been selective or Willie's been selective, Ruby hasn't ridden that much, certainly over fences this season. And when he won the Thyestes today, he gave the horse a big hug after the race, and it was this real moment where it's like, this guy knows that he is getting on, and these moments are actually just mean so much to him. And then when he won the beginner's chase in Silius Emery, Patrick McCann of the Racing Post just captured this beautiful moment where he kind of just he looked over, and as he was getting off the horse, he's just like, yeah, I remember this feeling.
Ruby's like a kid, isn't he? Like in the gallops in the morning, Ruby's like he's 18 again. Like he just has that enthusiasm. He just loves the game, like.
Because he knows that he probably doesn't have that long left, maybe a few years.
Maybe, but he just loves the game anyway. Like
his enthusiasm for it is unbelievable.
He just has that fire.
He was coming back from injury one day. I think it was his first morning back riding out, and he was like a kid at Christmas. Like he was riding a bit of work, and like he just hadn't, ridden a bit of work in a long time, and he was genuinely buzzing after.
Sometimes if he wasn't Ruby Walsh, she'd be like,
a dose bag.
Shut up, will you?
Racing's the only sport where you break your leg and you rush to come back for Cheltenham. You do well, and the following day you break your leg again, and people just go,
"That's it." Yeah.
Yeah, grand. Yeah. When are you back?
Yeah, but also the riding out thing is like there are superstars in your sport, but there's no prima donnas. Everybody comes and rides out and works the horses. And
I'd say if there were like a prima donna in the weighing room, like he would be so ostracised by the rest of them, just like, get over yourself. Like it doesn't work in this game. Like.
Yeah, okay. We're going to go through the card in just a couple of minutes' time, but we are here tonight, of course, with thanks to the Dublin Racing Festival taking place at Leopardstown Racecourse on Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of February. It's going to be 15 races, 8 Grade 1s and 1.8 million in prize money. You can book your tickets now at leopardstown.com. And I meant to say earlier, thanks to our friends in Touchline Productions for giving us the clip from... who found the clip of the pony race? Is it, do you have it in the house? Or?
My mum had it on a video for... she got it put onto a DVD a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. So. Are there loads more of those that you can stick up on YouTube? And
no, there's only one. That's the only way you've seen it all.
Well, listen, congratulations. It's been a brilliant season so far for Rachael Blackmore. Best of luck with everything. Patrick's going to stay with us as we go through the card and pick some winners. John Duggan is standing by as well. We're going to be right back after these.